Hey, welcome to the channel. It's Friday. It's probably about 11:30, 12 o'clock, and starting out, I'm going to start at the Rinping condo, and I know I did a video here before, but this time I'm going to walk across the bridge and get into the city a little bit and walk around a little bit. And I've got a story for you that's pretty interesting and pretty sad. But I'm not going to start the video here. I'm going to wait till I'm in front of the hotel, and then I'm going to walk across the bridge and start it from there. I really appreciate everybody that subscribed to the channel, left comments, clicked like, and you know, talked to me a little bit. Really makes me feel good. But anyway, I'm going to shut this off for now, and we'll get over and start walking across the bridge. Now there's the Rinping condo, and we're going to proceed this way, up over the bridge, and I'll probably go left up here at the bridge. But anyway, the story I want to talk about today, tell you all about it, it's really sad, and it's got a lot of the people, Thais and foreigners, kind of scratching their heads figuring what in the world is going on, and you'll understand when I get to the end of the story. But it starts back in 2014, and it's just now coming to a conclusion. Back in November of 2014, the Royal Thai Police, they find a red suitcase floating in the Mekong River south of Bangkok. And suitcase, when they opened it up, it had been weighted down with bricks and all kinds of things, and they found the dismembered body of a woman that was about 30 years old, and she'd been stuffed in the suitcase and dumped in the river. It took them about 6 days to identify her. They took the body to the crime lab and was able to identify the woman, and tracked her back. She worked at one of the bars in Nana Plaza, and when they went there, they found out she hadn't been seen for quite a while. And it's not uncommon for these girls to go with people and, you know, maybe end up going for a few days, not just, you know, 1 or 2 days. So I don't think it really raised any suspicions of anybody, you know, where she worked. But again, the Royal Thai Police did a fabulous job investigating this case. I'm really amazed at the great job that they did in bringing this case to a conclusion. They go through the CCTV at Nana Plaza, which, if y'all have ever been there, from about the moment you walk in the door till the moment you're out, you're on TV. So, you know, be on your best behavior. But they find where the girl leaves, and she's in the company of a white guy, and she leaves the complex with him. And then they get out and check the other cameras to see where they're going, and they track them to a hotel on Soi 5, just up from Nana. And they check the CCTV, and, you know, they see him going in, and the next morning the guy leaves by himself, and he's got some suitcases with him, and takes off. So they're able to identify the guy eventually, and it turns out he's a frequent traveler to Thailand. I'm going to try to get across the street here. Now, right that way is Warawat Market, but I think we're going to walk straight across the street if I can do it without getting hit. But anyway, they get a line on him, and he's got a house down in Ho Hin, which is down in the south of Thailand. And they execute a search warrant at the house. He's not there, but they find the clothes that he's wearing, and they take DNA samples from the clothes and the hairbrush at the house. I think I can make it now. And then they compare it to the the DNA that they found under her fingernails, and it matches. So they know they've got their guy. But he's got about a 3-week jump start on him. So they get to check-in, and it turns out that the next morning he checked out on the 1st. He had only gotten here on October 31st, so this was the first night he was there. And he went out with this girl. But anyway, apparently he had rented a minivan to take him from the hotel to Hua Hin. And they interviewed the bellman, and the bellman remembers him coming out and tells him that there's it took 2 people to load that suitcase in the back of the van. And then they interviewed the maid, and she confirmed that there was blood on the sheets when she cleaned the room the next day. Now, why they didn't call the police, I don't know. You know, that's something I'm sure they question themselves. But anyway, this guy's long gone, and they end up tracking him. He stayed in Hua Hin for a while, and then he took a train from Hua Hin down into Malaysia. And from Malaysia, he caught a flight to Spain. And apparently he owns a hotel in Spain somewhere. And he's not a citizen of Spain. From what I understand, he was a British citizen, but he had a hotel down there, and he kind of held out up there. Well, they alerted the police there in Spain, and they kept an eye on him. And it took, you know, it's a little different when somebody's outside of the country. They can't just, you know, drop a warrant on a piece of paper and say, hey, pick this guy up. They've got to get their evidence together, and they've got to prove their case. And it took them till about the early part of 2017. They finally get a red notice on the guy with Interpol, and they get him picked up. And he, through a third party, denies any doing in the wow, that's a neat shop. Denies any print shop, old style print shop. He denies any knowledge of her being murdered, and I think through a third party he admitted to taking her out of the bar, but that's as far as it went. The Thai police had all their ducks in a row. They had all the evidence they needed, and they pretty much got everything in line to get him extradited back to Thailand to stand trial. Well, in Spain, they don't have the death penalty. And the first obstacle that the Thai police ran into was that Spain wouldn't extradite him unless they waived the death penalty. So I guess that probably took a couple years to get that done. And when that got done and they said, okay, he's ready to go, then he applied through another court that he didn't want to come back to Thailand because he'd be subject to extreme conditions. And the court in 2021 finally ruled that the only thing that he was trying to do was to stall the legal process. And they signed the extradition papers, and I'm pretty sure it was late 2021 they brought him back to Thailand through Suvarnabhumi Airport. And I'll post links to the pictures so y'all can see the pictures that they have there. It's kind of, they took him out in high-vac suits. But anyway, he sat in prison for a while. And let's see if we can, there's a couple of really good restaurants down here on the right. I'm sorry to I was trying not to get sidetracked on this video, but there's just some things that I have to put out. But if you walk down here about 100 yards on the right, there's a real good noodle shop there. I think I'll just walk that way. Heck with it, I can walk around. But anyway, they hem-haw around, and usually when you come to Thailand and you get in trouble, it's usually about 13 months before your case ever gets tried in court. But he finally ends up pleading guilty and makes I don't think he made a confession, but I think he just pled guilty because we didn't see any reenactment on TV. that I can remember. So it's something that they've worked out. But anyway, the clincher really was, that really shocked us, is when he went to court, the judge sentenced him to 16 years in prison. And they also assessed a fine on him, or actually restitution to the family, to the mother. The mother gets 10 million baht, which is roughly, you know, $340,000. And then the girl had a daughter that was living with the mother, and she got 2 million baht, which is about $68,000. And he has to pay that before he can get out of jail. But now here's the clincher, and it shocked everybody. Being that he confessed, his sentence was cut in half, which means he's only going to spend 8 years in jail for taking a human life. And I mean, it just kind of floored everybody, you know? I mean, that's crazy. I don't understand it. I don't see the rationale behind it. Now the thing is that the article also says the prosecution in the case has the option to appeal the judge's decision. Whether they'll do it or not, I don't know. And also he has the option to appeal it. And if he does, he's a fool. There is a good noodle place there. If you come here, you need to eat noodle there. It's really good, and it's really nostalgic inside. I've showed this place before. But anyway, I'm going to keep walking and keep talking. But that's the story for today. I mean, this guy took a human life, went to extremes to cover it up. I mean, just really. And ends up with an 8-year prison sentence. It's just beyond me. I mean, I've worked a lot of homicide cases in my time, and I never had one be like that. And you know, is there something we don't know? That I don't know. Extenuating circumstances? Was there some type of agreement made with the Spanish government? I don't know. That's possible. You know, it's hard to say. Things work. Swati Cop. Things work in mysterious ways here, but for a man to take a human life and the way he did and just get away with 8 years is just beyond me. I can't fathom it. You know, heck, you get caught with drugs here, you know, you're gonna get life in prison. So, you know, it just doesn't, to me, it doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna try to get across here. I'm gonna walk right here. You know, the thing that I don't want anybody to think that, you know, she's in a profession where she should know better, but that's not the case here. I mean, thank you. That should never happen. I don't care if, hello there, how you doing? I don't care who you are. Nobody deserves to be treated like that. And it's beyond me. You know, and I can't fathom what could trigger somebody to do something like that. You know, it's just like the guy that murdered his wife. You know, how much rage do you have to have built up in your system to do something like that? I don't know. And I've dealt with cases with multiple victims. Hello. One particular case that I started out in, I started on in 1985 or 1986, and it didn't come to a conclusion. Matter of fact, I was in Thailand before it came to a conclusion 20-some years later. And I'll tell that in a story sometime. If you want to hear stories of actual cases that I've made and worked on and been physically involved in, tell me, I'll talk about them. I can go into depth about some of the stuff that I've worked on over the years. But, you know, to me, a human life is sacred. I don't care if the person's a bum. I don't care if they're worthless, whatever. A human life is sacred. And for somebody to take a human life, they need to pay for it. And to me, 8 years just doesn't cut it for me. What do y'all think? I mean, you know, do you think that's a just sentence for taking somebody's life? I don't. Even 16 years, it's not enough. It should be a lot more than that. And I haven't researched Thai law that much, and I really should. And I've got a friend that's a sitting judge over here, and if I can ever lay him down for a couple hours, I'd really like to hear the you know, how Thai law is on major crimes. Oh, juice bar. Now there's another really good noodle place up here on the left that I'll point out. But people do strange things, and you know, it doesn't always just happen here. It happens all over the world. But you know, when you hear about stuff like that, you think, geez, you know, what kind of lifestyle produced something like that? I don't know. It's just beyond me. Now, that noodle shop may be closed, or it may be this one up here on the left. I came down here one day, and there was a little bulldog, and I thought he was going to be friendly, and came up on my leg, and I thought he was going to eat me alive. Finally, the lady come out. He didn't try to bite me. He was just barking at my leg. Hello, how are you? Hello. Can I put him on video? Can you put him on video? Wow, what are you eating? What you eating? Is that good? Swadee Kap. He loves that Jello. Thank you. See you later. Bye bye. Bye bye. Cute kids. I love these kids. But you know, you try to. I could never put my mind inside of a criminal on their behavior. Sometimes you had to, but it was kind of difficult to figure out what their mindset was at the time they committed the crime. Duck noodle. Oh, okay, that good noodle shop is right here on the left. Hello. No, actually it's back there, and it doesn't look like it's open. But this is another one too. Usually you can tell it because there's usually about 10 or 12 Grab drivers parked their motorcycle out there. But I'm going to come up here and I'm going to make a right and head back to the car. It's a beautiful day today. The PM 2.5 was like 15. Another thing too, here's B&B Burger. Now I've not tried that. I think she was open one time when I came through. I'll have to come back and try that sometime. But today the cabinet is meeting about lifting the Thai Pass restrictions. So we should know probably by today or tomorrow. And if they come out with something before my next video, I will put it what the outcome was in the description of this video, if it comes out before I put this up. And I highly think that they'll lift all the restrictions, and it'll go back to just jump on a plane and come here. That's what Thailand needs right now. The baht right now is at 35, a little over 35, and that's the highest it's been since I've been here. Now, when I first came in 2004, it was at 44, and it's over the years it's got lower and lower. And I think when I came here, it was like 29, but it's gone up and up and up, and it fluctuates. It usually fluctuates 2 or 3 baht, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're transferring, $2,000 or $3,000, it can mean a little bit. And we are seeing prices go up here, not skyrocketing, but they are going up. Gas is going up, just unbelievable. But even food prices are starting to creep up, and again, you know, it's nothing that's really unexpected. You know, two or three or 4 or 5 baht, you know, for a meal, you know, really doesn't have any effect on us. This dog does not look well. I'm gonna avoid him. But you know, that's just part of it, and I think everybody's feeling that all over the world right now. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day on Facebook, and he says we may be headed to a world recession. I don't know. You know, we'll have to wait and see. But we're about to the end of the circle here, which is basically where we started. So I'll probably go ahead and close this video out now. I appreciate y'all coming in the channel and checking out my videos. And like I said, I hope you enjoy them, and I appreciate the comments everybody leaves. You know, some of them not so good, but 99 and 9/10 of them are very, very good, and I appreciate it. I know Lek does, because she reads them all. And y'all have a good day, and we'll see you in a little while.